Hi everyone, this will be your makeup tutorial for the reading major because we have canceled the meeting today due to the problems brought about by the Zoom application because I kept on being kicked. So right now we will be discussing the reading examination. All right, so everything you need to know about reading, difference between acad and GT, how to deal with the tests, different types of test questions properly will be tackled here. So first is the reading subtest overview. This is the second test in the written component of the exam. So right after listening, you will be dealing with the reading examination right away. This is the second test, so there will be no breaks given in between examinations. So you also have to be prepared physically and mentally for you to last long for the entire 2 hour, 40-minute, 3 hour if you're counting the preparations that you will be doing before the examination actually occurs. So materials such as pencils, test booklet, and answer sheets will be handed over to you with your through your testing invigilators. So do not ever hesitate to approach them if you have any concerns. Please also take note that there could be some problems with regard to the tampering of the sheets of paper, especially on the answer sheet. That's very important. Okay, so if you ever notice any problems with that, call those test invigilators out. Okay. Now, the listening and reading answer sheets are very identical. So this is something that you really would like to take note of. So they actually are just one sheet of paper. The answer sheets for listening and reading share just one sheet of paper. It's back to back. So side one, that's your listening. On the other side, that is your reading answer sheet. They are very identical when it comes to coloring. The color for both listening and reading is orange. So all answers for items 1 to 20 are on the left, while items for number 21 to 40 can be seen on the middle section of the right part of your paper. So make sure that you are writing on the correct answer sheet because we don't want to mistake one for the other due to the pointing system. Like, of course, you might not get any single point if that will occur because what will happen here is that you will not be getting any single correct answer since the answers are not supposed to be placed on where they belong. So you have to be really careful on that. Now, academic versus general training. So let us compare. On the academic side, they're more difficult. So congratulations, academic, you win this round again. Your reading test is more difficult. Your writing examination is also more difficult than general training. But you only have 3 reading passages to work on. And the problem with those passages is that they are much longer. So it makes the content of the examination pretty bulky. So bulky passages could be making you a bit dizzy, especially if you are finding some things with so many words. So you have to be really aware of this scenario. So, however, if you want to get a band 7, which is actually very achievable, you only have to score 30 points. So that's something that you want, right? So getting a band 7 in the reading examination for your module is as easy as getting 30 points out of the 40 items provided. Now for the general training side, so people, my GT babies, all right? So your examination content is so much easier. I can actually consider this as elementary level, entry level English. So you don't have to really be knowledgeable about specific academic information, all the information. You don't have to apply magic and stuff for you to understand the context of those passages because they will be handed over to you on a silver platter. That's so easy. All right. Um, your passages will actually be more. It's actually twice as much as the academic. So if they only have 3 passages, you will be experiencing 6. Shorter passages though, so it is so much easier to work on them because you only have the length is not very long, so it's only short. So, however, should you wish to get a band 7, that is the same as getting 34 points. And, getting 34 points could be, no, something that you should be really serious about, especially if you guys are looking at something to increase your OBS. So if you want to increase your OBS, there can only be something that you can do about it. That is to improve your listening and reading scores. I'm not saying that you will not do well in writing and speaking, but if you don't have that much time left, like you are preparing, you only have a month to work on, you have like some weeks left on your examination preparations, what's best to do is to improve your listening and reading tests. Now, I've got some good news, academic, because although the listening examination has become much more difficult over the years, the reading test has somewhat become easier. That's according to my students. One of my students, back in October last year, told me that, sir, I was only getting 5.5 in my practices in the branch. But when I took the examination, my reading exam was actually a very surprising because I managed to get 9. Like, congratulations, sabi ko sa kanya, because you managed to get 9. So, tumadali ang reading exam. That's something that you should really be happy about. But of course, you might not know when it could be difficult again. So, better to be prepared on all the level of difficulties that the examination could throw at you. So, next is the similarities. So if you guys have differences, you also have similarities. So both examinations, ACAD and general training, lasts for 1 hour. Also, you guys will not be having extra time for you to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. That is why within the hour provided for the exam, you must be able to do the transferring as you enjoy the time provided to you. So, remember that the test-taking strategy from the other examinations, listening, writing, and speaking, are different from the strategy you have to possess in the reading test. And that is, of course, through doing a lot of great context applications. So test-taking stamina could be depleted here. Most people kasi are doing the examinations wrong. That's mostly when we encounter people who fail at this exam. I have encountered my friend who managed to get an impressive score in speaking. That's a score of 8. Writing score of 7.5. But only a 5.0 in reading. That is because the technique he used was not the ideal. You don't actually have to read the entire thing. Because even though GT have more passage, shorter content, ACAD you have longer, you have only 3 passages to work on. If you get the number of words for both, you actually have the same. We're looking between 2,700 to 3,500 words. And if you ask me, those numbers are quite huge. So we don't want to read everything because if you are going to read everything, your eyes could get tired. So this is just a test of how you can hunt for the answers the fastest. So of course, your accuracy in getting those answers must also be provided. So next is the difference with the computerized exam. We know that there are 2 ways in which you can take IELTS. One is the pen and paper traditional examination and the computerized version. So if you will be taking the computer-delivered IELTS, you will have the ability to highlight the sentences from the passage by left-clicking those texts and dragging the mouse. So which area do you want to highlight? This allows you to easily compare and contrast ideas for and against. And that will make it easier for you as well to reference. That will make you reference all the content much easier by doing so. Next is the most important skill. Sorry, you mentioned that there are different ways in which we can strategize on the different types of tests, like in listening, note-taking, in writing, preparation, speaking, coaching, and practice. But for the reading exam, the most important skill here is taking down notes through highlighting by underlining keywords, which will allow us to identify the words relevant to both the question and the passage, respectively. Other referencing techniques are also needed for better understanding of what this so-called context. Now, you keep on telling me, sir, about this context, but can you give us an insight what the hell this context is? Well, recap on vocab 1. So guys, you might easily remember about what the context is and how it is relevant with the reading exam. So vocabulary 1 is by far the most important minor lecture relevant to the reading subtest because this gives the candidate better understanding of the passage to compare as reference through the utilization of the context clues. So, but why are we allowed? Why are we required to use this? How important this context clues is? Unfortunately, the words from the question is not the same from the words found in the passage. Thus makes it even more difficult. Okay? So, look at this. Example. The respiratory system, ito yung question, functions to switch gases between the lungs and the outside surroundings. Now, when you are going to find the relevant ideas, ibig sabihin ng relevant ideas, yung hinahanap mo kung saan ka magbabasa. You're looking for the part of the passage where you will find the answer. The main responsibility, which is the function of the respiratory system, check, is to exchange, pinalitan si switch, substances, pamalit kay gases, between the body's respiratory organs, lungs, and external surroundings, or outside surroundings. So, definitely, we need to use this to be able to get as much detail and information as we can. Now, different types of questions and test items. We have the summary completion, matching headings to paragraphs, known to be as one of the most difficult, identifying the writer's views, whether it's true, false, not given, multiple choice questions, selecting factors, table completion, matching causes and effects, sentence completion, short answer questions, and lists. Take note that the difficulty level of your reading examination could become higher if there will be more matching headings to paragraphs and true, false, not given. Because those two require us to analyze the questions and relate it to the passage much more deeply compared to the others. Because, filling in the blanks, getting descriptions, multiple choice, you have to apply the process of elimination. Mostly, they are quite similar, so it's easier for us to find. But analyzation and critical thinking skills will happen when there are matching paragraph headings and then true, false, not given. Now, if those critical thinking skills aren't working, don't worry, I got you covered. This class is meant for us to understand this. So I'm going to explain all the techniques you need to have in order for you to answer those two types of questions much more effectively. So, we shall proceed. Okay, 3 easy steps. So read the questions first through referencing. Read the passage by skimming and scanning. And while reading the passage, you have to answer the question through timing. So in this exam, you have to read the questions first, then you have to read the passage, then you have to skim and scan through the text, and then as you read, as you roam through the passage, you have to answer your questions as you do so. So I will be cutting my recording right now so that I may be easily able to upload this. So part 2 and 3 will be coming up soon.